heard, discussed, or considered?
Aye.
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 Thank you. And we're going to move on to our new business and consider approval of the personnel docket and addendum. Is there a motion to that?
Mr.
effect?
Chair, I make a motion that we accept the personnel docket and addendum as presented.
All right, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Mrs. Smith, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And it is approved. That brings us to the end of our workshop. And so bear with us about 10 minutes and we'll come back for our regular meeting. Well, good evening. Welcome to our regular school board meeting for November 12th, 2024. Just to let you know, you can probably hear it in my voice, but I'm struggling with my voice a little bit tonight, so I will speak as clearly and as loudly as possible. But I got a feeling as the evening goes on, it's going to struggle more and more. But we'll make do. And at this time, let's move on with our meeting. Let the record reflect that all 5 board members are present, and along with our superintendent. And so at this time, let's stand for our Pledge of Allegiance and then remain standing for our invocation, if you will.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Father, we thank you for your blessings upon us. We thank you for your goodness. We thank you for the beautiful and wonderful county we live in. We thank you for this school system, all of our students, all of our employees. We pray your blessings upon this evening and that you would lead and guide everything that we discuss and every decision that we make. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. Let's move on to the approval of the agenda. Is there an motion to approve it, or is there any changes we need to make?
Mr. Chair,
Mrs. Smith?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda for this evening.
All right, is there a second to that?
I second.
Mrs. Wade seconds it. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The agenda is approved. Let's move on to the minutes. Is there any questions about the minutes? If not, can we get a motion to approve them?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Hurd. Is there a second to that?
Mr.
Second.
Chair, I'll second.
All right, I think Mrs. Smith said second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes are approved. We'll move on to the bills and receipts. Any questions about the bills and receipts for this past month? Hearing none, we will move on to our time of recognition, and we have a full house this evening and a lot of certificates to give out. There's a lot of great things happening in our county, and so we're excited about that. And so I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Tigan, who will introduce our recognition time this evening.
Thank you. I know that Ms. Jarman is here ready to start. We are going to start our recognitions tonight with our Powhatan Education Foundation, and we'll invite them to come up front to help with that. And we are going to bring up our Classroom Innovation Grant winners. This is an exciting time, and look forward. They're going to give you a little, you'll get a little overview of what each one of our teachers or groups of teachers have presented and what we can expect moving forward. And we'll come down and join you at the front.
All right, the Powhatan Education Foundation is a nonprofit organization dedicated to enhancing the learning experience for students, teachers, and staff of Powhatan County Public Schools by promoting innovative and educational opportunities, recognizing outstanding achievements, and developing community partnerships. Each year, the PEF awards innovative classroom grants that present ideas for achieving the county's curricular goals, enhancing students' personal development, and/or encouraging links within the community. This year, PEF received 14 grant requests. 8 grants were fully or partially funded for a total investment of $15,922.90. At this time, I'm pleased to announce the following grant recipients. All right, first we have Kirsten Leitner, Diane White, Jennifer Lavmadier, Talia Rich for their project Kamuchis. You guys can come up. All right, this proposal funds a hands-on, playful, and interactive way to help children develop and speak the language of emotion. The activities lead children to expand their vocabulary, learn to better understand themselves, increase their ability to express themselves, and improve their overall communication with others. All right, up next we have Bilal Rayshuni. Turning tables, bringing CWD and the performing arts together through engineering and stagecraft for a total of $3,000. This proposal funds the construction of a mechanical turntable for the Powhatan High School auditorium. This 20-foot diameter rotating stage piece designed and developed by PHS Career Workforce Development and Performing Arts students in collaboration with the stage automation experts at Creative Connors, Inc. will unite our future builders, engineers, carpenters, electricians, and performing artists. Through high-quality work-based learning, students will grow their skills as stage technicians and engineers for the live entertainment space. All right, our next recipient. All right, our next recipient is Helena Knuckles, Orff Instrument Xylophone Exploration. She was awarded a total of $1,750. This proposal will supplement the elementary music curriculum and encourage musical exploration in student creativity using xylophones. All right, next up we have Xana Tulferdos and Samantha Martin for Polka Pulse News for a total of $363.23. This proposal will fund the opportunity for fifth graders to be building role models while they share important information with students and staff, build school community, self-esteem, and confidence in news anchors, connections to weather, school events, and community events. The virtual news presentation format promises to provide a more engaging experience for all POCA students. All right, next up we have Tiffany Ray for Real World Coding in the Library for $1,348.66. This proposal funds the introduction of JavaScript coding to elementary age students using an innovative Bitsbox application. With school Chromebook, students will create their own unique apps using the JavaScript skills they research and learn and research during their library resource class. All right, Sherry Ashman as well as Amanda Wilson Henderson from Crime Scene to Courtroom for $2,260. This proposal funds a collaborative project between forensic science and practical law classes wherein students will investigate a crime and pursue legal proceedings to introduce the forensic results in an authentic courtroom simulation. It promises to illustrate the vital role of forensics evidence in the legal system while fostering collaboration, adaptability, and interdisciplinary engagement. All right, next up is Katie Osborne, Kelly Terry, and Kirsten Benson for Sphero Indie Coding Cars for $3,000. This proposal funds expanding geography and computer science skills via Indie Cars, a very approachable and entry-level learning robot for ages 4 and older. This play-based learning, together with Learn Geography SOLs, will provide students an opportunity to learn and use basic coding, problem solving, and computational thinking. right, last but certainly not least are Kelly Terry and Mary Lisa Watts for unlocking student success with Breakout EDU for $1,237. This proposal funds decoding and problem-solving activities that promote collaboration, communication, critical and creative thinking. Game-based decoding challenges promise to promote student engagement using higher-level problem-solving and collaboration skills.
Ms. Hurt, can you move one step to the left? Ms. Smith, same? That way. My left, sorry. Your left? There we go. There, you're good now. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
There's a lot. All right, next we would like to recognize our Helping Hand Award recipients. Let me try that again. Powhatan County Public Schools Human Resources Department implemented a division-wide recognition called the Helping Hands Award. The concept behind the award is that anyone, student, parent, colleague, or supervisor, can nominate any Powhatan County Public School staff member who inspires, empowers, or innovates to receive recognition. The following members were recognized as Helping Hand Award winners. First up is Anne-Marine Horn, a counselor at Flat Rock Elementary, and she was nominated for Empowering. My kindergartner was having an emotional day during her first week. I took her to school that morning and we asked to meet with a counselor. Mrs. Horn was immediately available to talk with us and was patient and kind as she heard my daughter's fears. She took each one and addressed them in a way where my daughter maintained full control and autonomy over herself and her choices. She developed a plan with my 5-year-old and ensured her that she would be there with her to execute it. She showed up every time she said she would and followed through with each tiny detail. My daughter not only felt empowered by this entire exchange, but it completely transformed the way my daughter felt at school in general. She went from an emotional wreck to excited to see what the next day would bring. We would have never been able to accomplish this level of security and empowerment without the guidance from Mrs. Horn and her ability to show up each time she said she would be there. My daughter considers her a true friend and someone she can always count on to be in her corner cheering her on. Okay, next up is Arla Thompson, nursing supervisor at Pocahontas Elementary School, and she was also nominated for Empowering. Arla works daily to ensure the type 1 diabetes students in her elementary school receive the treatments they need to remain in class and have the best opportunities to learn. She is extremely knowledgeable and constantly works to learn her students' needs and how she can provide the best possible environment for the students to learn and feel comfortable. All right. Now we have Sergeant Major Blakely, JROTC instructor at Powhatan High School, and he is nominated for Inspiring. Sergeant Major is a true inspiration. He is so sweet to his students and leads an amazing example for all cadets. He always makes his students laugh and talks to them about their lives. He inspires me every day from the way he teaches by making learning truly fun to his past achievements, such as his position and job in the military. One second. If you nominated anyone up here, if you would like to come up here and stand with them, we would love to invite you for the picture. Aw. All right, next we would like to recognize our VASS Virginia Association of Science Teacher Rise Award. VASS recognizes exemplary contributions to science education through its annual recognition and Science Education Rise Awards program. The WISE Awards are presented to outstanding educators at all levels. In addition, school administrators and businesses are eligible to be recognized for their support of and contributions to quality science education. The VASS Awards Committee selected Powhatan County Public Schools' Jill Dewey to receive the VASS Rise Award. Congratulations, Mrs. Dewey. We are very proud of you. Okay, up next is Powhatan High School and Middle School Future Farmers of America. The Virginia FFA is an intercurricular student organization for those interested in agricultural and leadership. It is one of the three components of agricultural education. Agricultural education prepares students for successful careers and a lifetime of informed choices in global agriculture, food, fiber, and natural resource systems. Career development events are designed to allow students to develop their career skills in each associated area. For middle school, for the State Forestry Career Development event, overall they placed third, which is fantastic. The coach is Tom Walton. He is a volunteer coach, retired PHS agriculture teacher, and FFA sponsor. Coaches, if you're here, please come up with your students. We'd love to recognize you as well. Students to recognize, first up we have Joseph Arnold. Joseph placed the third high individual and was only 9 points away from first. We'd like to recognize Hunter Smith. Yep. Hunter was placed 10th in high individual. Up next is Taylor Shank. As well as Hayden Colombo Powell. All right, up next is our middle school plant science career development and event state convention. They placed 4th in the state. Their coach is Jen Baker, who is a PMS agri-science teacher and Powhatan Junior FFA advisor. I don't believe I've seen Miss Baker. There she is. First, we'd like to recognize Rory Yates. She is currently at Maggie Walker Governor's School, and she placed 10th individual. We also have Joseph Arnold, who placed 12th individual. And Casey Luna. All right, up next is our middle school Ag Mechanics and Technology Career Development event. They placed 6th in the state. There was about 25 teams and approximately 100 competitors. Their coaches, Jen Baker as well. First up, we have Joseph Arnold. He placed 20th individual. Hayden Colombo Powell. Ayora Yates. And Taylor Shank. All right, up next is our middle school small animal care career development event. That was about 90 competitors. Our coach is Mrs. Jen Baker. And we would like to invite Madeline, who goes by Maddie Chaffins, up. She placed 13th. All right, now we have State Dairy Judging Career Development Event. Our coaches are Albert Tucker and Johns Bailey. And we like to recognize Maddie Chafin. She was 4th high individual for FFA reasons.
Just wait, I can't see you. Just wait. And now Ms. Smith, can you there we go. Yeah, you can move it a little. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3.
All right, now we're going to recognize our Powhatan High School students. First up is our agricultural mechanics. The coach is Chris Whitlow. This team placed 3rd. This team placed 3rd in Virginia. First up is Carter Estep, who is 10th place in individual overall. Sam Finns. Parker Smith. And Jonah Davidson. All right, up next is horse judging. Our coaches are Caitlin Smith and Emily Maynard. All right, this team placed 3rd in Virginia. And students to recognize are Savannah Morris. She placed 7th in Halter. She also placed 7th in Reasons, 7th in Individual and State of Virginia. Anna Franklin. Anna's not here, but I would like everyone to know that she did place 7th in Reasons as well. Kennedy Martin. Regan Kearns. And Sarah Coons. All right, up next is horse hippology. Coach is also Caitlin Smith for this. This team placed 4th in Virginia. Like to recognize individually Regan Kearns. She placed 6th in individual in Virginia out of 93 contestants. Also Sarah Coons. Savannah Morris. And Kennedy Martin. Up next is floriculture. This coach is Emily Maynard, and this team placed 11th in Virginia. We would like to recognize first Jaden Palka. Ava Tucker. Karis Grell. And Casey Grell. All right, and last but certainly not least is our soil team. Our coach is Tommy Walton. And they were 2nd in the state, which is amazing. And we'd like to recognize Marilyn Robinson. Three more characters. All right, up next is our 2024 Skills USA State Fair. Skills USA is a partnership of students, teachers, and industry working together to ensure America has a skilled workforce. Skills USA helps each student excel. A nonprofit national education association, Skills USA supports middle school, high school, and college post-secondary students preparing for careers in trade, technical, and skilled service occupations. Skills USA held a competition at the state fair. There were 36 competitors in the electrical wiring competition, and 2 of our students placed. First, we'd like to congratulate Mason Heckel, who is a PHS senior, and he placed 2nd. And Carter Eastep, who is also a PHS student or senior, and placed 3rd. Mr. Payne, are you the coach? Want to come up? Picture. You're welcome. Yes. All right, up next is our Virginia Association of Agriculture Educators in Teacher State Recognition. The Virginia Association of Agriculture Educators awarded the Agriculture Teacher State Recognition to this group based on a number of agriculture students they taught who have now become agriculture teachers. First, we have Chris Whitlow. Mr. Whitlow is gold as he has taught 6+ agriculture teachers. And we have Caitlin Smith. Caitlin is bronze as she has taught 1 agriculture teacher at this point in time. All right, our last recognition of this evening is the VCU Health Medical Science Internship Program. So I'd like to ask Clara McComb to come up, please. So Clara is a PHS student, and she had her paper Effects of Blocking Brain Estrogen Synthesis on the Expression of Extracellular Matrix Genes in the Mouse Cortex published on the VCU website. Clara attended the VCU Summer Neurology Internship Program, and we are so proud of your accomplishments.
All right, we're going to move right along. Grateful for all of those in our school system, both students and teachers who are doing so well and excelling. And we love as a board that we get to celebrate the achievements taking place in our school system. So congratulations to everyone tonight. Next thing on our agenda is our public comments. And so in accordance with school board policies BD, DH, and KD, any resident of Powhatan County or PCPS staff member may...
Dr. Taylor, you jumped ahead.
I am?
Yeah,
We have presentations.
presentations.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
We are jumping ahead. I'm sorry.
You're just really
I am,
rushing.
yes, I am ahead. Is that what I need? I'm sorry. Yeah, so we are going to actually move into presentations. Then we will have public comment, but we have 3 presentations we want to see this evening, so forgive me for that misstep. So, Dr. Teigen, I'm going to turn it over to you to introduce our presentations.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Our first presentation tonight is on accreditation and assessment. Once again, Mrs. Jarman will be up to talk about this, but each year the schools receive information on various assessments, including the impact on accreditation. And for the 24-25 school year, all of our schools, as you will see, are accredited. That'll kind of be I know, I stole your thunder, I'm so sorry. And so, but anyway, she's going to share not only the data related to accreditation, but some other key factors that we show each year, including related to school size and other aspects. So, Mrs. Jarman, I'll turn it over to you. Thank you.
Board and Dr. Teigen. As Dr. Teigen said, I will be presenting on accreditation assessment for the 24-25 school year, which is based on the 23-24 school year's data. All right, so first up, this aligns with our first goal of academic excellence, which ensures academic excellence for all in preparing students for success in their career, college, and life. All right, for the 24-25 school year, the state looks at 9 school quality indicators. The first 3 school quality indicators fall under academic achievement for all students, which is the one right here, and English, math, and science. The next 2 school quality indicators fall under achievement gaps of our student groups in English and math, which is the middle one. Our student groups in Powhatan are Asian, Black, economically disadvantaged, English learners, Hispanic, multiple races, students with disabilities, and white. And the last 4 school quality indicators fall under student engagement, which are chronic absenteeism, K through 12, high school graduation and completion index, high school dropout rate, as well as high school, college, career, and civic readiness. So how schools are in each of these school quality indicators, schools receive a rating of a level 1, a level 2, or a level 3. For a level 1 rating, that means schools are performing at the state standard or above the state standard. For level 2, the school is meeting or nearing the state standard. And for level 3, the school is performing below the state standard. To be fully accredited, all school quality indicators, which again there were 9, need to be at a level 1 or 2. If a school is accredited with conditions, the school has 1 or more school quality indicators at a level 3. And if the accreditation is denied, it is due to the schools not implementing a corrective action plan for any school quality indicator that is a level 3. And as Dr. Teigen said, I'm very pleased to announce that all Powhatan County Public Schools are fully accredited. Okay, so the chart I have in front of you is for English. It's looking at overall academic achievement in English as well as achievement gaps in English. You can see the first column is academic achievement for the 23-24 school year. All schools were level 1, and they maintained their level 1 status for the 24-25 school year. For achievement gaps, which again, those are our gap groups of students with disabilities, economically disadvantaged, white students, Black students, etc. For the 23-24 school year, Flat Rock, Pocahontas, and Powhatan High School maintained their level 1 status. If you look at Powhatan Elementary, the third down, for the 23-24 school year, they were a level 2. For this school year, they will now be a level 1. That is because students with disabilities increased from a 63% pass rate to an 80% pass rate, which was a 17 percentage point gain to move them from level 2 to level 1. You can also see Powhatan Middle School for the 23-24 school year was a level 3. They moved from a level 3 to a level 1 for the 24-25 school year. That is due to students with disabilities increasing from 46% pass to 66% pass, which was a 20 percentage point gain. Our economically disadvantaged students increased from 64% pass to 75% pass, which is an 11 percentage point gain. And our Black students increased from 55% pass to 85% pass, which was a 30 percentage point gain. This chart is designed the same way. This is just for math rather than English. So you can see overall academic achievement was a level 1 for the 23-24 school year with all schools, and it maintained that level 1 status. Looking at achievement gaps, Flat Rock Elementary as well as Powhatan Elementary were both level 1, 23-24, and maintained for the 24-25 school year. Pocahontas Elementary was a level 2 last year for the 23-24, and they have moved from level 2 to level 1. That is due to Hispanic students increasing from 68% to 71% pass, a 3 percentage point gain, and students with disabilities increased to 57% pass to 70% pass, which was a 13 percentage point gain. You can see that Powhatan Middle School as well as Powhatan High School for the 23-24 school year were a level 2 in math, and they continue to be a level 2 in math. Student groups that they are focusing on for the middle school, students with disabilities, as they are at a level 3, and Powhatan High School is focusing on our Black students, which are at a level 3. All right, our academic achievement in science for the 23-24 school year, all schools were a level 1, and we maintained our level 1 status for the 24-25 school year. For student engagement, this slide is looking at chronic absenteeism. Flat Rock, Powhatan Elementary, Pocahontas Elementary, and Powhatan Middle were all level 1 for the 23-24 school year and maintained that status. For 24-25, Powhatan High was a level 2 for the 23-24 and went from a level 2 to a level 1 for the 24-25 school year. That is because they decreased their chronic absenteeism from 22.39% to 15.36, or a difference of 99 students. All right, so the next one we're looking at is the College Career and Civics Readiness Index. That measures advanced coursework, CTE courses and credentials, JROTC coursework and credentials, as well as work-based and service-based learning. Powhatan High School has an index value of 88.59, which is level 1 status. Looking at student engagement and our graduation and completion index, as well as our dropout rate. Our graduation and completion index increased to 96.1 for the 24-25 school year from a 94.7. The dropout rate pretty much stayed the same. It went from 2.47 to 2.45, which is about 9 students. All right, looking at some other assessments and standards of quality that we have. Our English language learners are assessed using the Access for ELS 2.0 assessment. To exit services, students need to receive a composite score of 4.4. For the 23-24 school year, 14.29% of English learners exited direct services. Currently, 68.75 of our English language learners are receiving direct services, while 30.43 of our English language learners are receiving monitoring. Active languages spoken currently: Spanish, Mandarin, Pashto, Russian, Japanese, and Portuguese. Looking at our ranges of limited English proficiency from 1.0 to, again, 4.4. 4.4 is the composite score we're looking at to exit services. Our range of students from 1 to 1.9 is 13. Our range of students from 2 to 2.9 is 7. Our range of students from 3 to 3.9 is 18. And our range of students from 4 to 4.4 is 3. All right, looking at career and technical education, it had an overall improvement in state licensure, certifications, and credentials earned. In addition, our total number of CTE sections as well as enrollment increased. On the right side, you'll see the different assessments students take within their career and technology education courses. All right, so looking at how we measure up with other state and regional comparisons. So PCPS exceeds the state average in all areas. Our reading increased by 2 percentage points, math increased by 4 percentage points, and science and history maintained at 74% pass. And that is raw, that does not include growth. Looking at English division comparison, we are number 2 out of 17 regional contiguous or comparable divisions, trailing behind Goochland at 82. Highlighted in blue is Powhatan for the 23 school year. You can see for the 24, it is higher to show the difference that we did have that increase of 2 points. Looking at math division comparison data, we are 5th of the 17 regional contiguous or comparable divisions. The counties outperforming PCPS are Goochland, Hanover, New Kent, and Louisa. Looking at our class sizes, all of our class sizes for elementary school have an average class size of 19. If you look at them between schools, the lowest class size is 18.45, with the highest being 19.2. This enrollment data came from the first 9 weeks. And then looking at secondary, pretty much maintain very similar numbers. Some went up. You can see at the middle school that English went up from 19.9 to 20.7. You can see some went down at the middle school. In history, 23.1 to 22. Very similar at the high school. English went down slightly, 20.4 to 19.1, where health and PE increased to 25.4 to 30.3. Any questions?
All right, thank you, Mrs. Drummond, for that. Are there questions from the board? Mrs. Smith? I think you, if you turn your mic on.
Sorry. Under the English language learners slide, could you speak and maybe give a little more explanation on the difference between direct services and monitoring services?
So direct services would be anyone that is between that 1 to 3 point, well, really up until 4.0. They'll be meeting with one of our EL teachers and receiving direct services. For someone who has placed out of that, we still want to monitor them to make sure they are making progress. But they are not directly meeting with an EL teacher.
Thank you. I just wanted the community to understand that. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I would just like to make a comment. The presentation is very well delivered. Thank you so very much.
You're welcome.
And,
Thank you.
and kudos for all the improvements that we've made.
Yes, very excited about that.
Yes.
Anyone else? All right, I will second that. We are doing really good this year, and it's exciting as we move forward. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome, and not to throw a wrench into everyone's gears, but later on I will be presenting on our new accreditation model that will be in place for the 25-26 school year. So what we just went over is current, but that will be changing when we get our data from the 24-25 school year.
Okay. All right.
And that presentation will be coming back probably in January after the holidays. We hope by then everything is settled down with the State Department, the Virginia Department of Education is still working with their Board of Ed to confirm and finalize some of the indicators. So that's what we're waiting for. Thank you, Mrs. Jarman, and I know you're not going anywhere.
I am not. All right, we're going to move into calendar. And first, I just have to thank the calendar committee. They were absolutely wonderful. We had a great mix of parents, teachers, students, central office members. So we have 3 different proposed calendars right now. They were developed in conjunction with a calendar committee that met 3 times and collected feedback from their constituent groups. Topics discussed during the development included teacher and student days assigned, professional development days, parent-teacher conferences, fall holidays, length of quarters, the 9 weeks and semesters, and length and timing of winter break and graduation. There are some calendars in the back if anyone wants to pick up at what we're looking at the draft version. The first one that I would like to highlight is when the semester ends in December, very similar to what we are currently doing. The first day of school would start the 18th. Our Thanksgiving break would still be 3 days. Christmas break would still be 2 weeks. Spring break would still be the first week in April, having the Monday, Easter Monday off, with the last day of school being the 29th of May. Some feedback from teachers where they really liked having a teacher work week, or work day right after the 9 weeks in. So we partnered that with some professional development. We will have 2 PD days throughout the course of the year. With this calendar, the semester does end in December, so the third quarter starts in January. The next calendar is where the semester would end in January. That's looking at balancing out the 9 weeks a little more evenly. There is really no change between that calendar, meaning when the semester ends in December, that calendar, and this calendar, besides when the quarter ends, but it's designed the same way with Thanksgiving, Christmas, April, spring break, with work days after the 9 weeks ends. The big difference that you will see is the last calendar, which is the extended day calendar, with some feedback that we were hearing from teachers and students just needing a little bit more of work time. If we extended the school day by 10 minutes, we could add 3 additional days for teachers and students. So the first one that we would look at would be in November. It would be November 3rd. They would have off November 3rd, and the 4th would be is now with on election day parent and teacher conferences. The next holiday they would have off would be the 9th of February, and that is right after a professional development day. And the last day they would have would be March 16th for a holiday, with spring break going into the first week in April. So extending the school day would give us, by 10 minutes, would give 3 more holidays for teachers to get some work done that they need. The other things that we discussed as a committee that are some changes that we would like to propose, looking at pre-K, kindergarten, 6th grade and 9th grade starting a day sooner than their peers. They would start the first day of school, which would be the 18th, and then the rest of the school would start on the 19th. Again, that would just be for pre-K, 6, and 9, really our transition years. The other thing we want to propose is for our pre-K and kindergarten students as an option would be the first half of the alphabet would go Monday, Tuesday, Friday, the first week of school. The second half of the alphabet would go Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the first week of school. And the idea behind that would be students would get to see each other in a small class size. Teachers would get to know the students better. It gives them 3 days rather than that 5 days, which can be very hard on a pre-K or kindergarten student. The other option we're looking at is during that first week, really taking students through different stations and activities to do to get to know them best, and creating classes based on that, so we have some information about our kindergarten students before placing them with a teacher, and that would be driven by teachers and what they experienced that week. So those are kind of the big changes that we're looking at for the 25-26 school year. There was a lot of feedback wanting a balanced, or what a lot of people know as a yearly calendar. So we have created a yearly balanced calendar. It would not be for the 25-26 school years. It does not give enough time for people to prepare. However, it would be for an option for the 26-27 school year. And we would like to come back in February to talk about what a balanced calendar would look at, with community sessions in January to talk about that before we proposed it to the board. That is actually in your packet, though, up there. I did include it for you. Any questions?
I have one question before I turn it over to the board, but on the extended day calendar, what would be the start times and the end times if we're extending by 10 minutes?
That would be a bigger discussion that we would have to sit down and talk about.
So-
It wouldn't be if my school ends at 2:30, that it's going to end at 2:40 next year. So we need to look at transportation. a
So it
budget.
hasn't been determined?
No, sir.
Okay.
It
I
has
wasn't
not.
sure if it had, and if it has, is it 5 minutes on either side or,
It has not.
okay. Other questions from the board?
Mr. Chairman,
Mrs. Hurd?
this has, I can't remember if you said, has faculty and staff looked at the 3 calendar options for next year?
Yes, and well, it depends on how you look at that. When I met with the calendar committee each time, I gave them a sample calendar, what you have. They went back to their staff and sent surveys each time. So there were 3 different surveys given to staff. Based on those survey results, we made changes each time. So they've had input into the 3 proposed calendars that we're going to put out for public comment.
Do we have any feeling on which of these 3 the majority of the staff is more supportive of?
Probably the extended day.
Okay.
I think that in the December calendar.
Oh, having the semester
The
ended
semester ended
December.
December, but I think the extended day, yes. That is what we heard overwhelmingly.
Thanks.
Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you. We'll move on to
Thank
the next
you. And
presentation.
we will post this as well as a survey for our community on our website.
Yes, our community and staff will have an opportunity to weigh in on these 3 different calendars as well as their specific questions. If there's parts and pieces of one that people prefer over another, with a final recommendation coming back at the December meeting. Thank you so much, Ms. Jarman. And as you can see, she has been busy with her mind already into the next school year. And Mrs. Stewart, Dr. Stewart's going to come down and also show that her mind has been in the next school year as she has been working with staff on the secondary course guide. And so she'll give an overview of that and the changes that are proposed. Good
Yes,
evening.
thank you. Good evening. First, I'd like to just say thank you. I want to just float out a thank you to the teachers, the school counselors, the department chairs, the lead teachers, the administrators, the specialists who have been involved and dedicated time and effort to helping to develop this. In fact, they did a lot of the background in terms of looking at the coursework that we wanted to make sure we were offering based on the needs of students and additional things that they wanted to be able to offer just to expand some of our course selection. So I wanted to start by saying thank you to all of that group of people who will continue to refine throughout this month until we come back in December as well. So we'll be continuing to partner with them through December. Essentially, let me get you going here. I just wanted to have a brief overview. This course selection guide is actually about 60 pages long, so I tried to condense it into a very small chunk to kind of give you the highlights, and of course you have access to the whole thing. I do want to reiterate that it is a draft. There will be some formatting pieces that'll look a little softer and a little prettier. If you got in there, there were some dark, hard lines and craziness, but that was just to make sure that it was easier to navigate as we were changing things. But once we have everything finalized, it'll look much more like we are used to online. For middle school, essentially the new courses that will be offered here would include exploratory dramatics, integrated US 1, which is actually not brand new. It was on the books before. It was taken off, but due to some anticipated accreditation requirements, we wanted to plan ahead as we wait for the final say in terms of whether or not we have to offer an advanced course that is such as this high school course in middle school. We wanted to make sure it was there. It's easier to take away if we don't need it than to add it in at the last minute. So we planned ahead for that. And then yearbook. There are no courses being moved to archive at the middle school level for next year. And then the additional changes that were made to courses that are listed there, including some chorus courses, some English and math courses, and some other updates were really just descriptions that were shifted to align to the new standards that we are using starting this year or that we're anticipating for starting for next year. Some other things like chorus fees and things were also added into the secondary course guide. So those are small changes, no major changes to those course descriptions. And then as we think about high school, this was an opportunity this year for some folks to start to expand some of the offerings for courses here this year. Again, on the list, you can see some of the new courses that are noted there: accounting, adapted music peer, Earth Science 2, which is actually turning into an astronomy focused class, electricity 3, entertainment design and technology, landscaping, which actually has changed just to the turf grass management, which is listed below, principles in culinary arts, and then the red courses, HVAC and cybersecurity, are courses that we are trying to get onto the book. We don't have it finalized yet. There's a matter of determining who can teach it, but since we're in budget season, we wanted to put it out there to see if we can get the personnel to be able to help guide our students through those topics. So still working on expanding those, but I just wanted to make sure that you were aware that those conversations are happening. I do want to point out that you'll see that there are some dual enrollment courses listed on the new courses list that were not necessarily there before. Many of the dual enrollment courses offered at Powhatan High School specifically are more aligned to the Advanced College Academy group, which is, each year we take about 28 to 30 students who would be part of that group every school year, so about 120 students. But again, with anticipated accreditation requirements that we are waiting for to be finalized, it would allow us to offer more dual enrollment courses. And generally, even if those accreditation standards don't come to fruition, if we're offering more opportunities for our students to have access to dual enrollment, if they're not part of the academy group, but can still start to acquire some college credit that they can use moving forward wherever they go after they leave us. That's not a bad thing either, just to offer those opportunities to them. So we're looking at expanding some of those. The archived courses for high school, basically the education for employment is just a name change to a career education course that they already sort of are moving anyway. So they just refined it to make sure that it aligned to more of the work they're doing. Again, Earth Science 2, which had changed to astronomy, foundations of algebra, and small engine repair was shifted over to make room for that turf management class that was listed in the new side to try to get some things that were in some demands there. And then again, there are other descriptions that were updated to align to the SOLs that we're now using, some course codes, just some specification and clarification between the words prerequisite, co-requisite, prerequisite being that you complete it before you can get into another class, co-requisite meaning that you can take it concurrently with the class to make sure that they're complementing each other. So there were just some confusions there, so we clarified those. And then, again, just some additional opportunities that we may have pulled out of the archive and back into the course guide to try to start offering some dual enrollment and career tech ed classes with the staff that we presently have, and then trying to expand on some that we might have during this budget season. And that is all I have. We'll come back in December to share our final version with your approval to move forward with where we are. Are there any questions?
Any questions from the board?
No questions.
All right. Look forward to a final version.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So now we're gonna, yes, we can clap for that. Wait. turf management. Who could get excited about that?
Really? Grass.
We're going to move into our public comment period, and so in accordance with school board policies BD, DH, and KD, any resident of Powhatan County or PCPS staff member may address the board during this public comment period. The chair will call speakers who have signed up to the podium. Speakers must stay at the podium and wait for to be recognized by the chair. Each individual will have 3 minutes. Delegations will have 5 minutes to provide their comments. We ask that you respect their time limitations so others can address the board. Note that no one may sign up to speak and then relinquish their speaking time to another or previous speaker. A maximum of 30 minutes will be designated for the public comment period. We ask that you address your comments to the board as a whole, not as individual board members, the audience, or the staff. And please begin by stating your name and district. The board requests that all speakers maintain an environment that promotes listening and respect. The board will not respond to or address issues raised by speakers during the comment period, and speakers are reminded that the chair is authorized to stop or remove any speaker who uses vulgar, disruptive, or threatening language. Your acceptance and adherence to these guidelines is greatly appreciated. Anyone who wishes to participate obviously has to sign up before the comment period begins, providing your name and address, and speakers will be announced by the chair to come to the podium. At this time, we have 2 to speak. The first is Nick Radcliffe. Come on down. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Go for it.
Okay. My name is Nick Radcliffe. I live on Tower Hill Court, and I have a daughter in high school. I'm here today to petition my government for redress of my grievances, specifically fees and additional costs associated with the government schools in this county. The fiscal year 25 budget for Powhatan County Public Schools is $65,013,694. With a student body of 4,421 students, this equates to a budget of $15,329.80 per student. Now, it's been asserted that the per pupil expenditure is much less than this figure, but regardless of the financial math and obfuscations involved to get to that reduced figure, the simple fact is that Powhatan County Public Schools has budgeted over $15,300 to spend per student in fiscal year 25. Before my daughter decided to attend brick and mortar school for high school, she did her school at home. She routinely received top marks and even skipped a grade for completing her schoolwork in a fraction of the time that she currently spends at Powhatan High School. Furthermore, I never spent anywhere near $15,000 per year for her education. It wasn't for a lack of care or attention to her education. As I mentioned, she excelled in her school, and my wife and I spent time teaching her additional subjects and materials and going on field trips to enrich her experience and inspire her imagination. No, we didn't spend that much because it is an obscene and unnecessary amount. However, despite Powhatan County Public Schools having access to this level of resources, somehow you still manage to convince yourselves that it is appropriate to further fleece the taxpayers of this county with unnecessary fees for school resources, such as $10.50 for class dues, $26.50 for a Chromebook usage fee, $31.50 for a culinary art fee, and $256.50 for AP exam fees. Oh, and 4% fee to pay the fees online as well. So now we have fees on top of fees. Some of you may be thinking, well, you didn't have to put her in AP courses and culinary is an elective. That may be true, but what about class dues and Chromebook usage? Are those optional as well? And oh, by the way, if you want your child to have access to a locker in Powhatan, that costs extra as well. Now, I've been to the school, and it may shock some of you to learn this, but the lockers are already there. Why should we have to pay extra fees for the facilities that were paid for when the building was built? Regarding the fees associated with the optional services, I want my child to have the best chance of a good and enriching education. And if you weren't spending a fortune of taxpayer dollars already, I wouldn't have a problem with the fees for optional services. But these optional services that come at a premium are things that my daughter would have gotten at home for a fraction of the cost.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Next, we have Delray Spence. Good evening. Yeah. You may start.
I have kids in elementary, middle, and high. When I finally got the one that I am the guardian of out of middle, everybody said high school was going to be better. I can tell you now they lied. We have been in school either 12 or 13 weeks. I've already had to deal with 6 different administrators on 6 different problems. Some of them, I don't even know who they are. Some of them call one time, some of them do nothing. Today was the last straw. I got an email yesterday that my grandson was tardy 3 times this quarter. Today I get a phone call, no, he's 4, 5, and 6. They want him to do 6 hours of after-school detention, which I've already told them, that is not an option for my family. So now they want to do 6 hours in school. ISS. How many people have been late for a doctor's appointment? Late for a dental appointment? Late for any appointment? Do we get penalized 2 hours? I don't think so. I was late today for an appointment. Did I get penalized 2 hours? No. This is totally unfair, and I'm over the school system. I am just so fed up. And it's a shame that more parents, guardians, and grandparents don't stand up for these kids. I am going to stand up for the one that I am overcharge of. He will get a fair education, whether I have to go to the media, go to the state, I don't care. One of my grandsons is 14 years old. You know, he doesn't know the months of the year in order. He thinks the year starts April. And he's always been right here in Powhatan. These kids are being left behind, and I'm done. My grandson, when I questioned him about his tardy, he pulled out his Chromebook that, yes, we had to rent. As of this afternoon, when he got home, he was only tardy 3 times. So now what am I supposed to believe? Somebody that makes a phone call to me or his Chromebook? What's the story? Something is wrong. It ought to be one person that I can call that school and take care of things. No, it's not. And I'm done. I will go further with this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. That's the end of our public comment period, and so we're going to move on to our superintendent's report because our school liaison is not here this evening. So we're going to skip that and move on to our superintendent's report.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Our first item on the superintendent's report is the monthly financial report for the month ending October 2024. And I'm happy to entertain any questions.
Any questions from the board?
All right, I'll move on. Policy and regulations updates for November of 2024. There are 3 policy updates that were updated per the VSBA. Most of them are minor changes. They are highlighted where you can see where the changes are. These will go out for public comment until the December 10th meeting. And happy to address any questions that you may have on the policies.
Any questions there? All right. No. I think we've all looked over these and have had some.
The next item is the resolution of the School Board of Powhatan County Public Schools regarding the financing of certain school projects. And the county administrator, Mr. Brett Chardine, has requested that the attached resolution be approved so that the county can start the financing process for the cost of the Powhatan High School HVAC replacement, the Pocahontas Landmark Center, B, C, and D wing demolition, and then the Pocahontas Elementary School HVAC replacement phases 1 and 2, and such other capital projects that may be indicated in the county's capital improvement plan. And I'm happy to read the resolution if you would like me to. And I know we have, yes, sir. We have representatives here to be able to provide some information as well. And Mr. Benway's here, but I'm happy we have our representative from Davenport who has been working with the county on the financing of our projects.
Thank you, Superintendent and members of the board. I'm actually not with Davenport,
You're
but I'm with McGuire Woods, the law firm, not the financial side of the transaction. But I'm also happy to answer any questions about the resolution or the financing to the best of my ability.
Are there any questions this evening? I don't personally have any myself.
I really don't think by this resolution that it affects our year-to-year budget. The interest charges for the loan will be run through the county budget. Am I correct in understanding that?
That's
So
right.
it has no impact on our particular yearly operating budget.
That's right. The principal and interest is going to be paid by the county as part of its budget process, but right, it's not coming out of the school board budget.
Right, just want to make sure everybody knows that.
No, no, and this and that, the treatment of that is consistent with the way several different school projects have been financed over the years here. So yeah, this isn't anything new in terms of how that structure is going to play out.
And one thing also, I understand that there's no prepayment on this.
That's right.
And so if some miracle happens and there's some kind of grant for construction and they let you use it retroactively, that would be up to the Board of Supervisors to handle that as well.
That's right, and that allows, again, I'm the lawyer, not the financial person.
Right,
but,
right.
But, if interest rates were to move lower at some point in the future, you could always finance at a lower rate and, roll that into a financing for other school projects because, so yes, that gives you the maximum flexibility in the future to deal with the financing and structuring.
And I guess my last question to make sure people understand, if we're not financially responsible for this, why do we have to issue a resolution?
Well, not to get too philosophical, but some of it comes back to just how schools in Virginia and capital projects in Virginia are financed. And so the way it typically works is because there is that relationship between the school and the county, or the school board and the county, and sort of forcing them to be aligned, at least in terms of the projects that are going forward. You have to have the school board act to really ask or authorize the borrowing for the projects, and then have the county either follow through or adapt a resolution that matches the project.
So this is our legal ask to the Board of Supervisors to get the money and take care of this. Well, we're taking care of getting the work done, obviously, but this is the legal ask of the county for these funds.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
If I could just ask for clarification. So you said that there was no prepayment penalty? Okay.
That's right, yeah,
Okay.
on this one, yep.
Mrs. Smith, do you have a question?
I do. As the lawyer, what are you here to tell us tonight, this document?
Well, just what we've been talking, this is the resolution that sort of checks the box on the things that have to happen under the state code for asking the county to borrow money, to provide money to finance capital projects. And so, the structure that you're authorizing in here is again, a common structure that's used in Virginia in school and other types of financings. The county uses it, and the school board has used it for a couple ones. It's called a lease back because of the way that the incurrence of debt in Virginia works. So there's a lease between the county and the EDA, where the county makes lease payments to the EDA, which is technically the bond issuer here, is the entity issuing the debt. And so this resolution sort of is that formal ask for the borrowing, but then also authorizes the school board to sign any of the documents that relate to the transaction to help structure it, which would include some of the lease documents. And then because there'll be school buildings and school facilities that are getting the financing here, the school board, the superintendent most likely will sign a tax certificate because you're getting a tax exempt interest rate on the borrowing, and we want to make sure that the school board stayed schools and you don't sell them to some developers. Not things that you're not going to do, but we just have to. We have to get you to say that because we're a lawyer and we like to be very careful about things. And so that helps us, form the basis to tell the lender that, yes, that's going to be a tax exempt bond.
So after we approve this resolution, does the county come back and approve their resolution?
Well, given the timing, they went first, which is okay. But yeah, so the county went October 28th maybe. And then you'll go tonight, and then the EDA is the last one to go, and they're going on the 20th, and then we'll close. I think we might close the week of Thanksgiving.
Okay.
If we can't close that the week before.
All right, thank you.
Well, this sounds good. It's nice to be able to know that we can get these much-needed projects underway. In fact, Dr. Taggart, if you could remind us, obviously the high school, Pocahontas and Powhatan Elementary's HVAC will be taking place in the summer, but maybe you could update us on the timeline of the demo that will take place here at the Landmark Center and things like that.
Right, and the HVAC at the high school is planned. The goal is to start that replacement in June as soon as students release and maximize the time in the summer. The phase one of Pocahontas Elementary HVAC would start in the spring as well, correct?
The spring of
2026. Right, that's a year behind, and then it would finish in that summer and go into FY27. And then the building here will start the process of working with the engineering group to define the project and be able to get definitive dates on when things can get started.
And the goal is the spring of the year, this year, get started on the demolition.
This year. 2025.
Do you know how long, Mr. Badenway, that demo will take place? Is it?
Not at this time. The design work hasn't been done yet, and so we'll have a better idea after the design work is done.
So it'll be a physical tear down then?
Yes, sir.
Not an implosion, obviously. A little too close to some other buildings.
We hope not.
Yeah, so it will take some time for that, months maybe.
And remember, that is a project that, there's parts and pieces of the buildings that are connected. So it's being very thoughtful and strategic. And so that's one of the reasons that working with the engineering firm to be sure that we have a solid plan before we get started.
So we don't take down a good building.
True. Or make it not usable for any amount of time.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions for this, I guess? All right, we will move along.
Don't we have to vote?
We vote in a minute.
We'll vote. It's in the.
Can it be in the consent agenda?
Probably do need a individual vote.
I think you need an individual vote. So do you want to go on and do it now?
So you could do it now,
Yeah.
if someone wants to make a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
I make a motion that we accept the resolution of the School Board of Powhatan County Public Schools regarding the financing of certain school projects.
All right, is there a second to this motion?
Second.
Mrs. Smith seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And it is adopted. Let's move on to the next part of the report.
Okay, the next item is the FY '26 budget calendar. This had been brought back last month. There were just some tweaking of getting the day of the week set, but there have not been any other changes to this, but asking tonight if there's any changes, or if not, it is asking for final approval. And so again, this one is in the consent agenda and can be voted on then, but happy to answer questions before you have to approve it.
Any questions? I know we've been talking about this for a month or so, but
Yeah.
Mrs. Hurd.
But there may be some changes to coordinate schedules with the Board of Supervisors. That, of course, will be allowed.
Absolutely. I mean, this is our budget, your budget calendar to work from. I will say oftentimes, because it does involve joint meetings with the Board of Supervisors, things can shift as we get in to February and March, and we have done that in the past, and so it would not be totally unexpected if that happened this year as well.
Thank
But
you.
it's just trying to communicate to our community when these meetings will be held as of now.
All right, moving right along.
Okay, there's also the appropriation of excess food service balance. We need to spend down our excess food service balance, which is nearly $400,000. And per the Department of Education, school divisions should only reflect a fund balance that's equal to 3 months of operating funds, which for us is a little more than $415,000. And at the end of FY '23, our fund balance was over $800,000. So this is when we use these funds to do the upgrades to our kitchens, to not only equipment, but other things that we do based on need. And so there is a list of items that have been provided and have been vetted that would be purchased with this money. And this is not money we can spend any other place than it has to go into the food service program.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
you already expensed this out then, Dr. Tigan?
Excuse me?
You already have the things that you know you're going to be spending this money on?
We've already worked with Sodexo to have a list of items purchased. Yes, ma'am.
Where does this money come from? Is it
It's-
from grants? Is it from,
I'm going to let Mrs. Hallowell explain how fund balance in the food service.
Now it's on. Okay. In the food service world, because a lot of our money is federally funded, the state keeps track, and it's in a separate account over at the county. So we have to let them know, and this is on their agenda for, it's probably going to be December now. They look at all of your expenditures each year and all of your revenues, and whatever the difference is your fund balance, if there's more revenue than expenditures. And that can build up over years, but you're only supposed to keep 3 months worth of fund balance. And we have probably double that right now. And it just never happened last year. It should have happened last year, but we didn't have all the pieces and parts in place to replace the equipment. So now we have a list of equipment. It's going to be ovens, steamers, carts, the hand-through carts where they can just hand the food right through the wall, basically. And I don't think, as of today, we got updated quotes. We're probably going to spend about $300,000 because that's what we need. And we have those quotes ready to go. I just need for the county to say they're giving us the blessing to do that. But we have to do it by law.
Okay. So when we have, I think last year, what, 20,000 or so dollars of, or maybe it wasn't that, whatever the number is, but students that aren't paying their lunches, do we have money to offset that? This is separate?
Yes.
This is for,
This, you have to spend
physical
this on
things.
building improvements, but only within the
Okay.
cafeteria
I
world.
got you.
Yes.
All right, that makes sense.
Good question.
All right, any other questions?
Actually, I have a thought that just came to mind. So if we're replacing a lot of the equipment that may or may not need to be replaced, are we able to take those and auction them off or
We
have a
can.
private
Yes,
sales?
ma'am. Yeah, but because it's federal money, there's a lot of stipulations around that. We could actually donate it to other counties if they, or cities if they needed it. We've actually talked to one place who we thought might need it, but they get more federal money than we do, so they don't need it. So there's, I'd have to look into what the rules are with that, because it is federal money. We probably can't just auction it off. I've never had to do that before, so.
That
We
might-
did go through, there's going to have to be some electrical upgrades to some of it because our equipment is so old that the outlets will need to be replaced as well. And we've had our electrician look at that with Sodexo as they went through and walked the buildings.
Right, they might need to go from single phase to three phase, et cetera.
that would be
But
nice.
that may be an option so we could recoup, and as long as we're allowed by law, we could use those funds to help pay off towards the student funds. of-
Yes. And we also,
Yes.
my brain just went completely blank. I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, I know what it was. A lot of these things were on our CIP, and we've been able to take those off. So that would
Okay.
be money that we wouldn't have to
Very
use
good.
for that kind of thing. That's what I was going to say.
Great, thank you.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much.
And the next item is an appropriation of increased funding for our Title I grant. During the FY '25 budget process, we adopted $346,095 in Title I funding. Since then, we received notification from the Virginia Department of Education that additional funding has been awarded in the category of Title I grant. And so that's what we're asking for here, is for that increase to be approved. And it's an increase of $44,688.69.
I think we can approve that.
We like to approve free money, yes, to help our children.
All right, any questions about this?
It's down below, I think. Everything.
And do we know how we're going to spend this money?
We have not designated how it will be spent yet, but I mean, it will, with all of our title monies, needs often exceed funding, and we want to make sure that we're using the funding in the way to best meet the needs that the monies are for. All these title grants have very specific narrow needs, and these are for our students who are living in poverty and then have academic challenges. And our Title I school is Pocahontas Elementary, so it would be used there. It could be used for parent workshops and other things like that too, to help our parents with, supporting the learning at home as well.
And what's our time of spending this money?
We have 2 years to spend any of the title grant monies. And so we don't have to spend it right away if we don't need it right away and that an expense comes up later. So again, the money is always at a shortage, and so we try to be really targeted and frugal about what we spend and when we spend it.
Thank you.
All right,
The next item is an appropriation of Title III grants from FY '23. There was a carryover of $3,541.17. And the new award for the FY '24, or I guess it's really annual year, this is an annual year's 24, is an additional $4,673.94. And so that gives us a total of $8,215.11. And the Title III grant really supports our students of our English language learners, so it can be used for like, for different items that we need for them. I believe some of it's used for testing, because as you heard earlier, we have the WIDA testing, and so those are assessments that we have to order for the students to know what level they're at. So that's one example of where that money might be spent. If there's no questions, I'll keep going. An award of FIB 25-01 Powhatan. It's very long. I mean, Powhatan's high schools, RTUs. This is essentially the Powhatan High School HVAC work that we were just talking about. And this would be purchasing the units and getting everything, starting to get things in place. But this is the contract for the work to be done. And so there was a bid process. There were 5 bids. We are going with the lowest bid, but we've done our due diligence in making sure that we have checked the references and even asked for some additional references to make sure that this firm could get their work done in the timeline, because as we've continued to say, it has to get done in the summer when the kids aren't there. And so that would be from essentially the beginning of June until the beginning of August, it's got to be done. And so this particular company did have the lowest bid, and they have committed to getting the work done, and there is language related to substantial completion to incentivize the work being done. And Mr. Benway, if you'd like to add anything, or if they have questions.
That we need to get done, and our goal was to get them on contract as soon as the money was available. So as you know, the Board of Supervisors approved it. You're continuing with the process. That will finish up next Monday, and the money should be available. And so that we want to be able to roll with that contract, because as Dr. Tigan mentioned, those RTUs are long lead time items, and we need to make sure they're ready to go and be placed on the roof when the summer rolls around. So we got to order them now to do that. And so it's more than just the RTUs, it's also the control systems. As you're aware, there's many parts of that control system that aren't manufactured anymore, and that they've had caused outages in the past. So the entire control system, not just for the RTUs, but the entire control system for the entire school is going to be replaced, as well as the pumps that move the cold and hot water through these systems, and as well as the rooftop vents. All those are going to be replaced. What's not going to be replaced is the air handlers or the ducting or that sort of thing. It's just the main mechanical and control components of the HVAC system that's going to be replaced.
Okay. Are any questions in regards to this? I guess the only question I have, I know we're going to order them. I know we need to order them, but is there any chance that they don't arrive on time to start the project June 1?
Last time I talked to our consultant engineers, Thompson, that they said they have some that could be modified slightly to fit our need, and they should be available. But there's no telling how long those are going to last, so we need to get them while they're there.
So we're getting ones that are modified, or that's a backup option?
They will meet our design perfectly.
Oh, design, okay. I got you. All right. I'm excited to get started on this.
Me too.
We definitely need it.
And just an FYI, a lot of that work is actually going to start in the December timeframe with the control system. It's just the heavy lifting, as Dr. Tigan mentioned, that's going to take place in the summertime, literally lifting those RTUs on and off the roof and the roof vents and that sort of thing. But much of the control system work, the wiring, installing new controls, that's going to be done in the classrooms in the evening hours starting in December.
Very good.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I was just flipping through the contract really quickly. I didn't see, and I may have just missed it because I was looking so quickly. Is there a penalty for them if they do not finish when school starts, a monetary penalty?
Yes, there are liability damages. As Dr. Tigan alluded, there's both.
Okay, I was just, okay. So are they substantial enough to make it worth their time?
$500 a day, which is kind of the standard.
All right, and I'm sure they're a bonded company,
Yes, ma'am.
of course. All right. I think we need to vote on this separately and not in the consent agenda, if I'm right.
Let's do
Because
it.
it's a contract.
All right. Do you want to make that motion as well?
Yes, I will be happy to. This
Deed
is,
scene is an assignment given.
it is so exciting. You can't beat this with a stick. Let's see, wait a minute, it's not on the sheet there, hang on. Let me get back up here to the contract. Let's see. I make a motion that we accept the contract for Powhatan High School HVAC RTUs Pumps and Controls Replacement Project. And I'm trying to find the name of the firm. Oh, Old Dominion Mechanical Limit LLC.
Is there a second to this motion?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And we are moving forward. Thank you, Mr. Benway.
Mr. Benway is going to sleep well tonight.
Finally.
And the last item is a donation to Powhatan County Public Schools from Mannequin Episcopal Church. And they donated $3,500 to cover costs of lunches, lunch balances, and that will be awarded to, we will use that to offset the cost at the middle and the high school, and we're very appreciative of that donation. So thank you.
Thank you for that report. We're going to move on to the consent agenda, and we have already voted for approved. What have we already approved? G. All right, so we're going to.
Move G.
So is there a motion to approve the consent agenda minus G?
Mr. Chair.
Ms. Smith?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the consent agenda minus letter G.
All right, is there a second to that?
Mr. Chair, I second that.
All right, we got a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It is approved. So, comments by the board for next month's agenda. I'll start to my left with Mrs. Ward.
Basically, I'd like to thank all of the participants tonight who presented to us all of the changes that we have that are forthcoming for the next school year, and even going into 26 and 27, looking that far ahead, good for them. But just basically want to make a few comments in regards to I'm sorry. No, not that. Yeah, I don't want to discuss that one. But basically, as far as all of the progress that we've been doing with the education and making the improvements of our students and them scoring very high, I really appreciate all of that. That's very great work.
Mrs. Hurt?
The listening tour was great. We divided up 2 at a time and went around to the elementary school, the middle school, and the high school, listening to the teachers and staff on needs and suggestions for improvement. And the big thing that came up, and I want to assure everyone, we still, in some of the schools, are dealing with sub-situations where teachers, during their valuable planning time, because as a retired teacher, I know planning time is critical, they're having to sub. So we are taking that under strict advisement, and we're trying to address the issue. As you know, we contracted with a sub firm to provide subs for us, and we have asked for an analysis after the first semester so we can weigh out what it cost us and how effective that contract was in covering our needs for subs, and what it would have cost us if we had done it ourselves and not contracted with them. So we're hearing the teachers, and we're also investigating ways hopefully that we can compensate people for when they have to work extra in their planning period. I was really excited to see adding HVAC and cybersecurity as a potential for our development and workforce development program. I recently did some research and talked to some computer people, and I hear that cybersecurity is really a hot job market. And most of the people in cybersecurity do not have college degrees necessarily. Some do, some have advanced degrees. But cybersecurity is a hot market. It pays great. It does not provide us, it does not force us to provide a lot of tons of extra equipment from the research I've done. It's finding, teachers and so forth. So I do hope when budget time rolls around that we can address that need, because I think that's a big step in the right direction for preparing our students for the future. Once again, staff has done a wonderful job providing us with wonderful planning for our future. I'm a planner myself, and I really appreciate the time that they've taken to address what our needs will be in the future. Thanks a bunch.
Mrs. Wade?
I just want to say thank you to the teachers and staff at our schools that have brought our accreditation to where it is, that all of our schools are now accredited. That's a good job, especially the middle school who brought the scores up so much and so quickly. That was a very impressive job, and I just want to say thank you to them, and ditto on what everybody else said.
Mrs. Smith?
My mic on. I appreciate all the teachers and administrators who came to share concerns with the board members as we went out on our listening tours. It was always very helpful to hear from you. I'd like to say thank you to the Powhatan Education Foundation for supporting the projects that our teachers have submitted, and the congratulations to the teachers, the coaches, and students recognized here tonight, both academic efforts and extracurricular events. The calendar information shared with the board tonight is going to be posted for review. This is your opportunity to look it over carefully and share your thoughts and concerns. Please do this. This is some very interesting but different approaches to a school calendar. And you need to know what you're voting for. And then thanks to Dr. Tigan and our staff here for the continued work that you do to make Powhatan schools, to keep Powhatan schools on the path moving forward in education. Thank you again.
All right, one of the things about going last is everybody's already said everything. So echo the sentiments of just being ecstatic about all of our students and faculty being awarded tonight and celebrated tonight for all their achievements, and excited for what's ahead in all of our areas of our school. And then in our workshop, we had a presentation about upgrading some of the aspect of our football stadium, not just for football, but all of our sports and other activities, with a scoreboard that would be a video board. And so that's exciting to see that progress. We don't know where that's going to go, but that's been a long time in the making. One last thing is the fifth graders from Powhatan Elementary gave us a bunch of thank you cards, and this came as a result of class time talking about and learning about local history and specifically government and how it works and all of that. So big shout out to them for taking some time as students to thank us for what we do. And it's interesting that one of these, if I can find it real quick, I'll just read this one. I think this is the one I was thinking of. Dear School Board, I love the fact that you give us stuff that helps educate us. Thank you for putting your hard work and money into school. It's good to hear a little bit of thanks sometimes. So we don't always up here on the board hear the thanks. We hear the other side of things, which we many times might deserve it and definitely want to hear it, but it is good to hear from a fifth grader. Thanks for providing for us, and that's what we're trying to do every time we meet, every time we work. We're trying to provide the very best education for our students in our county. And as you saw in the report earlier this evening, our schools are fully accredited. They're moving in the right direction, and we are turning the curve from much of that loss that took place a few years ago during those COVID years. So big thank you to all of our administrators, teachers, counselors, coaches, and everyone in between for what they do, and central office as well. So thank you, Dr. Tigan, for your incredible leadership here. This board member, I know definitely appreciates everything you do, and I think I can speak for all of us in saying that we all would say that. So
Thank you.
thank you.
Well, I'd like to say, I'm going to take your segue there on thanking and just say that, as we're leading into the holiday season, I think it's important to remember what we are thankful for. And we have some of the most outstanding teachers. We have strong administrators. We have central office staff that works really hard to support the needs of our teachers and our students. We have, our families here. I am so thankful to be in a school division where our families are engaged and are here to support their children. When you see them, whether they're performing, whether they're, it's about a learning opportunity for them. Our families come out and they're supporting their children. And it's a wonderful place to be. And so, I'm thankful for our students and their families. And I will say, I just got a text that we all have one more thing that I know we can be thankful for that probably people sitting here don't know, is our field hockey team won the game tonight, and they will go on to the state semifinal. They have one more. There's a Friday game, and if they win the Friday game, so right now they're totally undefeated, then they play Saturday for the state title. So we have so much to be thankful for. We saw all our kids up here tonight, and our teachers and our community members that are supporting our kids. And so sometimes I know when things aren't perfect, it doesn't resonate well. We are people, so we aren't perfect, but I feel like collectively we have a lot to be thankful for. And so I just want to thank everyone for that.
That's awesome. I know that when we were recognizing teachers with the grants from the Education Foundation, I know there were some of those teachers that were not here to be recognized because they were at the high school for family who were playing tonight in that field hockey game. And so it's exciting that we won. We're going to move into our public comment period, and it looks like we have no one for our final public comment period. So it has been a good evening, and at that point, we're going to close it out. So thank you for being here, and good night to you.
Thanksgiving.